Hi, and welcome to Intuitive Insights. Hello, everyone. As usual, we're gonna wait a couple minutes, see who we get on here. Just me for the moment, but I'm sure that people will probably be hopping on. It is, after all, the full moon eclipse, so we got a lot of beautiful, intense energies going on right now. The 6/6 portal, I feel as though it has already opened up, but that will be, we'll be in the fullness of that energy within a few hours as well, depending on, hi, Malicious Mind State. Hi, I missed you so much. I'm so glad you're here. Depending on where you are in the world, the 6/6 portal, it may already be 6/6. So, time is an illusion, right? So the way I'm feeling it, we're very much in this energy. If you guys watched, hi, Kelly. If you guys watched the full moon eclipse 6/6 portal video that Kayla and I did, you know that we look at this as all one big energy, right? So we're in this portal energy right now. It's just, honestly, I haven't had time to meditate yet. I definitely want to do that after this live is over and just really sink into the energies and try to communicate with some beings and communicate with my higher self. And just really, I like to be able to kind of tap into the downloads and what I'm receiving when I have the opportunity to do so. But I think a lot of us notice it anyway. We notice that kind of going on sometimes, even if I'm not really consciously aware and remembering or in the energy of knowing that it is a portal and all of that, I'll start to hear the ringing in my ears, or one of my ears I'll lose hearing in an ear or something, or I'll feel the energy coming in all of a sudden. So it's like we get those downloads and we get those insights and we get those activations and communications, whether we're paying attention or not. But it's pretty cool when we are paying attention to really be able to meditate and sink into that and really just vibe with that energy. So I'm definitely planning on doing that after this live. But I wanted to check in with you guys and see how you were doing and just feel into the energies a little more. There's just so much exciting, intense energy. I wasn't sure how this eclipse was going to be. I wasn't sure. There's a lot of purging going on. There's a lot of that intense energy. But I've just been feeling just really motivated and inspired. And it's almost like somebody had turned the volume down the past week or two. And now all of a sudden the volume's turned back up again. And I just feel amazing. So I want to know how you guys are feeling right now. Yes, I'm so glad you weren't either. Perfect. Hi, Tommy. Yeah, I want to know how you guys are feeling. I just got back a couple hours ago. I attended a Black Lives Matter march that they were doing in the city that I live, and it was absolutely beautiful. The energy was so powerful, and this is just such an incredible time to be alive. We are in the beginning stages of a revolution right now. And of course we are, right? We're moving into this new earth as this ascension energy is increasing. Of course, we're going to be seeing that more and more in the 3D, right? We're going to be seeing these changes happening. And it's one thing to talk about this, and Kayla and I got into this in our video, right? But it's a whole other thing to really see it unfolding. And it's just so beautiful to see the way that people are coming together, the way that people are speaking up, the way that we're acknowledging our shadow, not just as a country, not just as individuals, not just as a country, but as a world. Like the entire world is not just watching, but participating. Like we're all standing up against injustice together. And it's just so incredible and such an important aspect of this process as we ascend, right? As we come into this vibration of unity, is understanding and calling out and sort of acknowledging where unity is not present, and just purging all of those lower vibrational energies, right? And just coming into this greater sense of unity and respect for each other. And demanding that respect from the powers that be, the authorities, that we, and it's all this Pluto and Capricorn energy, right? Like we have the Pluto and Jupiter getting ready to make their next exact conjunction on the 22nd. We have these 3 eclipses. We have, Saturn involved in that mix. And so it's this, we talk about this whole energy of dismantling the system, right? And this whole energy of like getting rid of really looking at the authority structures in our lives and whether they're serving us or not, and overthrowing those systems. I mean, anytime that we've had similar astrological alignments, and they are pretty rare, but anytime that we have, there has been a system that has been overthrown. There has been an uprising. And so that's what we're seeing, and we're making way and making room for this new 5D Earth, where we don't judge each other based on color or nationality or race or any of that stuff. Where we don't judge each other, period. We live in this harmony and this unity. We live in that love consciousness. And some people get a little scared and they get a little worried and feel that we're moving out of that consciousness because of what's appearing in front of us, right? But this is that process that brings us closer to that. It's that purging process, like we talk about in all of our videos, where all of that stuff that's not a match is being uprooted and sort of, and we're ridding ourselves of that as a global society. So it's just really, really amazing to witness. And I feel so honored to be here and to be present on the earth at this time, to be a part of this process and to witness this and to hold space for this. And I also just feel so grateful for each and every one of you. Like, I was thinking tonight how amazing it is that I'm able to hop on here and talk to you guys. That this is the most incredible dream being made manifest. And I was blown away by it tonight when I was getting ready to do this live, just how grateful I am for each and every one of you guys. I'm going to check out some comments here. So much magic is happening in my life right now. Yes, those beautiful synchronicities, Ashley. Yeah. Oh, that's Layla's a beautiful name. That is a beautiful name. Yes, it's our spiritual awareness and our spiritual condition is just growing so rapidly right now. It's such an incredibly beautiful and intense process. And right now, I mean, that it's just off the charts as we're moving through. You guys should definitely check out the portal video that we did. We're moving through. Hold on. I want to read your comments before I get going on a spiel about that. Yeah, yep. You know, Kelly, I don't think it's moving off of our spiritual path, though. Honestly, it's this purging process, and it's sort of kind of what we have to go through and what we have to do sometimes. I felt like that way myself. I've had, honestly, I don't want to say a rough couple weeks, but I had the past couple weeks, it's been really up and down for me too. You know, there were times where I felt really disconnected from everything, from my spiritual path, even from like, it was a struggle showing up for my mission and showing up for my life. I kind of just wanted to hide away. And there was that part of me that almost, you know, had those little moments of almost wanting to throw in the towel and just be like, can I just go back to like not caring about any of this stuff? Like, this is tiring. There was so much questioning, and it was just like a purge of all of that energy. And also just in some ways, and Kayla and I got into this too in our video, it was also at other times just like me rooting myself back in my humanness as well, which is, I mean, we are spiritual beings, but we're having this human experience. So everything that we do is a spiritual experience. And being incarnate as humans and going through that very human process and doing the things that humans do, sometimes Kayla and I both look at that as like stepping away from our spiritual path, but it's really not, because that's part of what we came here to do. So that's beautiful too. I've been out to the ones, my state. Yes, California. Yeah, I hear it's pretty crazy out there. Yep. Yep. Yeah. That's what we call our human bodies. Oh, yeah. Yes, we've definitely been feeling the past life energy and the soul recall and all of that as well, Kelly. That's absolutely true. It's just wherever we are and however we've been dealing with this process is exactly where we're meant to be and exactly what we're meant to be doing. And so never discounting any of that is, you know, where I was going with that is I can just speak for myself and say that I can get pretty hard on myself sometimes when it comes to all of that. And it's just allowing myself to be where I'm at, wherever that is. Sometimes I'm feeling really connected. Sometimes I'm really not. Sometimes all of those insecurities and that fear and that doubt and all of those energies that I'm working through. It's like we work through this stuff, but then we get introduced to a deeper level of it. And it's always a deeper level that we're working on. And so it's just allowing ourselves to be wherever we are in that process and just really loving and caring for ourselves during that process. Thirsty already. You guys definitely want to hydrate. Hydration as we're receiving all of these light codes. I mean, our bodies are being seriously upgraded right now. Our energetic systems, our physical bodies will be affected as well. We talk about this as well as how, as we're ascending into this fifth dimension, we're taking our physical bodies with us, which has never happened before. And so typically once beings ascend past, you know, into the fourth dimension and beyond, the fourth dimension, though it starts, is not quite as solid. And by the time you get to the fifth dimension, it's really, we're not solid at all. And so we're bringing a lot of that solidity with us. And so our systems are being rebooted. Our energy systems even are being altered and are under construction basically right now so that they can support the amount of light that's coming in and they can support just all of the changes that are happening. So we're receiving a lot of that support through this 6/6 portal and through this eclipse portal. And we're receiving that from the Galactic Confederation, these different beings of light, just receiving it on all counts. And so we're really just in this process of trying to purge everything that's not a vibrational match anymore. And at the same time, like take care of ourselves and allow ourselves to have this process of integration. And it's the same thing as well, Kelly, when we're talking about our past lives, as we're recalling those pieces of our soul, we're having this same process happening. Like that is affecting our physicality. That is requiring more energy and it's requiring more, it's causing more shadow stuff to come up. And we're recalling those memories and some of that trauma as well from these past lifetimes so that we can heal that and have full access to those parts of our soul and those gifts that we possess that we're reclaiming right now. And so, yeah, it's a lot of just really caring for ourselves, really being kind and compassionate for ourselves. And so, yeah, that's definitely something that's highlighted right now. And so I actually, yeah, I want to grab a couple keepers of the light right now for you guys and see what these say. It's like, you never know. I have cards that I feel like I'm going to want to pull, and then I end up going in a different direction. And I mean, we never know what's going to happen. So these guys, they wanted to play first. So we're going to see what guidance and support we have from the keepers of the lights. Okay. So we have Paul the Venetian, experiencing grace. Share your gifts with grace. Waves of inspiration and love are coming to you. Yeah, so I mean, we're talking about how we're incorporating these lost pieces of our souls, right? And we're kind of like coming online in a sense. We're receiving all of these upgrades. We're receiving all of this light. We're integrating all of these pieces of ourselves. And so it's about these gifts are being integrated and reclaimed right now so that we can share them, so that we can utilize them for the evolution of humanity, for this ascension process, to help ourselves and to help guide others through this process, to create this new earth together. And so it's really important that as we learn how to own and embrace these gifts, we share those. And it can be really intimidating sometimes to do that. You know, honestly, I get intimidated sometimes when I know that I'm getting ready to come on here and do a live, even though I love you guys so much. Like, putting ourselves out there is scary. You know, as we're incorporating these gifts and as we're incorporating this knowledge and this wisdom and wanting to share it, like a lot of those insecurities and those doubts come up too, but we can't allow those to stand in the way. We just have to keep showing up and keep doing it anyway. And knowing that the more we practice, the more in tune with ourselves and our gifts and our abilities we become. And the more we sink into that heart space, it's just right now is just a constant lesson in learning how to sink into the heart space, learning how to live from that heart space. We talk about it all the time, how the heart is our key to the fifth dimension, right? The heart is our key to everything. And so it's getting into that flow when we're connected, when we're in that love consciousness, when we're in that heart-centered consciousness, that's when inspiration flows through. That's when we channel. That's when we become these conduits of light. And we can feel that. We can feel the warmth of it. We can feel the heat of it. We can feel just that flow and that momentum that we get caught up in when we start opening up that heart center and we start living from that and we start speaking from that and we start acting from that and moving from that. And that's what we're all learning how to do right now on a collective level, is just to be in that heart energy and live from that heart energy and express our true selves from that heart energy, how to look and view everyone from the lens of that heart energy. And so Paul the Venetian is here. Oh my God, he does just personify grace, right? And I'm being drawn to the rose in his lapel there, which is it's over his heart chakra area. So just this beautiful, yeah. So I don't know if the rose is relevant for someone or will be relevant for someone that's watching this, but I'm really being drawn to that rose right now. I've never really noticed that or paid attention to that before. And it's just like trusting those waves of love and those waves of inspiration when they're coming to you. We talk about this all the time, just really trusting where your inspiration is guiding you and knowing that it is guiding you. Like these flashes of insight, these flashes of inspiration, when we feel like we're just inspired to do something, we're inspired to take action in a certain way, to create in a certain way, to be in a certain way. Like knowing that that is your higher self speaking to you, trying to guide you down your path and your, for lack of a better word, destiny, right? It's like seizing those waves of inspiration and riding those waves of inspiration. And how do we ride those waves? By opening up this heart center, right? Through the heart, through that heart energy. So just really, really stepping into our own with that and yeah, just tapping into that energy and just knowing that more and more of that is coming. And the more we embrace that, the more momentum builds and the more that comes to us. And then we have Dwal Cool, Dharma unfolding. So this talks about life path, right? That's what our Dharma is, our destiny, right? Our life path. Remember that you are on a path. Take one step at a time to happiness. So I feel as though right now he's coming to us to remind you that you are on your path. Anyone who's been wondering about that or feeling like we were just talking, right, about how some of us have felt like we've almost wandered off our path a little bit, or we've felt a little bit disconnected, like you are on your path. That path is leading you. Those waves of inspiration, that love is leading you further down that path. And the steps that you're being guided to take right now are the steps that will lead you deeper down that path and will lead you to find the fulfillment and to find the realization and the manifestation of your desires that you are seeking. Like you are exactly where you're supposed to be and you know exactly where you're supposed to go if you tap into your own inner knowing and understanding. And you tap into that love consciousness, like you will know where to go. A lot of us are stepping onto our soul path now, and we are absolutely being guided down that path every single step of the way. So just know that. And the word happiness just stood out to me. So it's through that love consciousness, through that joy, through your bliss. That's how you're guided down that path. That's the barometer that you can use as you move forward down this path. And then we have Mahavatar Babaji, soul expansion. Your consciousness is expanding. You understand the connections between all things. So that's exactly what we're talking about with this portal, right? With everything that's going on with the ascension. So to backtrack a little bit here, what Kayla and I felt was going on with this eclipse portal is a massive timeline recalibration. So the ascension timeline for the Earth is being, when I was thinking about it originally, I saw it almost as it was like a box of gears almost. It looked like a grid, or gears. It's hard to really put into words what the visual looked like, but it was like they were all twisting and turning and intersecting, and then almost like a Rubik's Cube and how you move it around to get, you know what I'm talking about, right? And so it was just like, and those were the timelines and the shifting, and some of them were blending and melding together. And it's sort of like this complete reset and recalibration of the timelines of the ascension that is going on right now. And so, yeah, I mean, this is a pretty intense energy, and as this timeline is jumping forward, right? And this ascension process is moving forward so rapidly. That's where we talk about how our physical bodies are being upgraded. Our spiritual bodies are being upgraded to keep up with all of that. And our we are experiencing a massive soul expansion right now. Like, we are expanding, we are reclaiming all these other pieces of our souls, right? There's so much massive growth happening right now. And your consciousness, your understanding, so it talks about the connections between all things, right? So that's like seeing and understanding and recognizing all the synchronicities, right? Seeing and recognizing the ways that you're being guided, seeing the way that everything is connected, and just really understanding that, and sort of like this higher perspective is evolving. It's what, Kayla likes to talk about. She refers to it as the cosmic mind awakening, right? And so the cosmic mind is being activated. Cosmic consciousness is being activated. And for a lot of people, you're going to start noticing this in ways of like your psychic abilities, really, your psychic and intuitive abilities really being off the charts as well. They were telling me, they wanted me to talk about the knowing, right? So it's sort of this, I believe it's one of the clairs. I forget if it's clairsentience, I want to say maybe it is. Claircognizance, one of those. But it's that knowing. When you just automatically know something down to the core of your being without question. Like that kind of stuff. That knowledge is just going to be dropping in. Where we're just going to have this conviction and this knowing of things that are going to happen, understanding of things that have happened, just understanding of things and concepts that we maybe had never even thought before, just kind of like dropping into our laps, right? And that's like when we talk about downloads, like a lot of this stuff is going to be happening for a lot of you guys, and you're just going to be like, it's like connecting all of those dots, right? So that's pretty cool. And then we have, of course, Kali Ma, facing fear. Major spiritual changes are unfolding. And so this is the shadow that we're purging right now. This is what we see going on a collective level. This is going on an individual level as well, right? Like we are the microcosm, and the world at large is the macrocosm, and then the galaxy and everything beyond, right? But like we're talking about us, and we're talking about the world. We're keeping it simple like that, right? So that is absolutely happening. All of our fears are coming to the surface to be worked through. And I think it's interesting, this is coming up right now. I think for a lot of us on a spiritual path, on this path of light, right? And we're always talking about this 5D earth and everything. It's like one of our fears that I think is being exposed right now is just the fact that there is so much unrest in the world, and it's making a lot of some of us, maybe not a lot, but some of us, I think, a little bit uncomfortable, because we understand that in order to enter this fifth dimension, we have to be centered in that love consciousness. And it's like, at first glance, it looks like there's not a lot of love in the world right now. Like that's where we understand the connections between all things. And as our consciousness expands, we start to understand how what is happening in the world right now is actually creating the space for more love. But at the time, it doesn't look like that. So we're kind of like, well, fuck. I mean, we wanted a revolution, but we thought it was going to be all of us just meditating together and singing Kumbaya and just anchoring in this golden age, right? Like we weren't necessarily thinking about like a possibly bloody and brutal revolution. And that's what looks to be upon us right now. And so I think for some of us, that's some of the fear that's coming up as well, is just like, what's that going to look like? And like, how do I participate in that in a way that honors my spiritual knowing and keeps me centered in that 5D love consciousness, right? And so for some people, I think that's a fear that's coming up. There's all kinds of different fears coming up for all of us, right? But it's so important to face those fears. It's so important to face that shadow, to face that darkness, to acknowledge it and understand that it's there, to honor it, and then to be able to move beyond it. And like we're whatever. I was going to say we're balls deep in that process right now. Like, pardon my French, but we are. I mean, it's happening. Yes, absolutely. We are spiritual warriors, man. You're absolutely right. And like that looks like different things. And a lot of people, I think, had a concept of what that would be. And so it's all of our faith is being tested a little bit, right? Like our boundaries are being tested. We're really having to look deep within ourselves and see like, what is the role that we're playing in this process? What role are we comfortable in playing? What roles may we have to step into that we were perhaps afraid to step into, or that we didn't want to step into? And are we willing to do that if we're called to do that? Like we're all being called to action right now in whatever way. Some people are being called to action in the 3D, through protesting, through organizing, through, at those types of ways. Some people are being called to action through their meditation and their light work. Some people are being called to action on both. I straddle two of those different worlds sometimes. I want to participate. I've wanted this for such a long time. And it's like to not participate at all and to just lock myself away in the spiritual and in the energetic realms doesn't necessarily work for me, just because of the type of spiritual warrior that I am. But we are all different types of spiritual warriors. And it's all about finding and honoring that balance within ourselves moving forward, and just really stepping into our own integrity, finding what we believe in, finding the way that we know that we are meant to make a difference and making a difference in that way. And so, yeah, however we are being called to do that. And if we don't know, we're going to be finding out soon enough. We're going to be understanding. It's like whatever's coming up right now, as we're figuring out how we're being called to be a part of this aspect of the awakening journey, like, is going to require us to face some of our fears. If we feel that shadow stuff coming up, if we feel that uncomfortability and those fears coming up, that is, I think, a key sign that this is something that we're meant to look into more, because we are guided down the path that is going to trigger our fears and is going to trigger our shadow stuff in order for us to fully step into our light, because that's how we heal and that's how we integrate. And so our path will require those things of us. Yeah. And then we got Sir Nunos, life force. Express your driving passion. Sensual and sexual powers are increased. So for this, I'm just really feeling that. I'm feeling that Aries energy. We've got a lot of Mars energy going on with this eclipse, right? And so I'm really feeling that Aries Mars energy and just expressing that passion in however and whatever way that is resonating. Like our passion is being ignited, our fire is being ignited within us, and just in absolutely every sense of the word. And then Archangel Michael, of course, trusting heaven. You are safe, angels stand close, surrender your concerns and allow a miracle to occur. So there's a lot of us. Archangel Michael's a busy guy. There's a lot of us that call on him, and he answers absolutely every single one of those calls. So he's one that I personally call on as well. So this is just a reminder that we are, like, everything is being divinely directed, right? Everything is unfolding perfectly in accordance with the divine plan. So just trusting in that and just knowing that and just going and flowing with that. And yeah, trusting heaven, trusting your angels, allowing them to step in, allowing them to be of assistance. We can call on so many beings right now with this portal, with this massive energy that we have open. We can absolutely feel and experience contact with any beings in service to the light that we ask for and require and want assistance from at this time. And they are absolutely willing to help us and to assist us as we go through this process. And then we also have Diana, focused intention. Think about what you desire, set your sights high, expect the best possible outcome. This is key right now. We get into this in the Eclipse portal video as well. Because of this massive timeline recalibration that's going on right now with Gaia and with the ascension, like our personal timelines are being recalibrated along with that. And so our thoughts, our energy, our frequency, our actions are so powerful right now. And we can make massive quantum leaps in our reality and our experience of reality right now. And so if we're focusing on what it is that we want, if we're focusing on the best, like it says, the best possible outcome, that's what we're going to manifest. If we let ourselves sink into fear, if we let ourselves sink into anxiety, if we get caught up thinking about all the things that we don't want and all the things that are wrong, that's what we're going to manifest rapidly. That's the timeline we're shifting ourselves to. So like take advantage of this quantum timeline shift to really anchor into where you want to be, what you want to do, where you want to go, and what kind of change you want to see in your personal world and in the world at large. Like, what is the outcome that you were looking for? How does that feel? How, like, sink into that, really, really connect with that. That is so important right now. So I cannot stress enough how important that is. And just the miracles, like it said, we had cards somewhere in here about expecting miracles, like the miracles that are possible when we utilize and capitalize on this energy. I mean, I don't even think that I can conceptualize of them. And so it's really important for me to remember this as well, is just really focus on what it is you want. What is, if there's a challenging situation that you have to think about, of course, we have to address it, but focus on the highest possible outcome. Call in your higher self. Call in the higher self of any other people that you might be dealing with, and look for and ask for the highest resolution. Imagine, ask for those downloads and those insights of what the highest possible resolution could be from spirit as well. And then, of course, and then I always say, of course, on the bottom, Commander Ashtar, call to action. Take charge, lead by example, walk your talk. This is what we're all being called to do on whatever level it is right now, is be that example, be that change that we want to see in the world. Really step into our empowerment, step into our voice, and lead by example. You know, like, we can't just talk about things and then not be about them. We have to be about them too. We have to live our word. And so that, like, we're really being called upon to do that. And that's how we continue to anchor in this timeline. Like, it's great to think about the things that we want. It's great to think about the ways that we want to be, but we have to actually be that to match that timeline moving forward. It for the long haul. Yep. Emptying of cups. Then we have Gaia, Earth connection, of course. It's all about Gaia right now. We are connected to her. She is ascending. We are ascending with her. And so just really getting grounded in Gaia as well can be so helpful, and just sending her that love and sending her that energy. You know, we're unifying, and we're coming to understand that we are all one organism, right? And we're getting rid of all of the blinders and all of that residual stuff that kept us feeling separate from each other, right? We're seeing that being purged out on a collective level, and we're understanding and coming into just really sinking into that unity consciousness, right? But we're also one with the planet. We're one with nature. We're one with the animals, like really acknowledging and honoring Gaia right now as she is leading us through this process. Like, we are ascending because she is ascending. So just being grateful for that, thanking her for that, giving her energy, giving her support. She's always willing to give that back to us as well. So we can really get recharged and grounded by connecting with her right now and honoring her. It's Kelly, it's an unfolding process. You do it without even realizing that you're doing it. And it's more about when we learn how to get out of the way and stop thinking about doing it so much, trying to figure out how to do it, it's everything starts flowing more naturally. So it's about releasing that need to understand and releasing resistance and just allowing ourselves, because like wanting something really badly is actually a form of resistance, which is something that I had to learn and something that I'm still always learning. And honestly, sometimes I feel really in tune with my higher self and source, which really are one and the same, right? And sometimes I don't, and I go in and out, and it's when my ego comes in and when my mind comes in and tries to analyze too much, that blocks that out. And sometimes when I'm just purging energy really heavily, I can feel the illusion, that illusion of separateness come back in. But it's just as we continue evolving and ascending, we just naturally become more connected to our higher selves, right? And so we do it a lot of times without even realizing it. Like in the beginning stages, it's just like our intuition, right? When we notice and we pay attention and we honor our intuition, those little nudges and those little, when those pop up, right? And we follow that, that is the beginning stages of connecting with our higher selves and connecting with source. When we start noticing these synchronicities and all of that different stuff, right? And so as we notice these intuitions and we start learning to trust ourselves more, we begin to be able to connect more with our higher selves. It's once like this purging process comes first. We get rid of all the stuff that buried our true selves, right? And then the truth of who we are can shine and we feel more connected to that. Another thing that's popping into my head right now is the whole idea of being afraid of our light. Being afraid of our light and feeling unworthy of our light. Those are major things that I still work through, and I know a lot of us work through, and those that can be, I hate talking about blocks because I hate reinforcing the idea that they're real, because they're not. They're created in our minds, right? But it's that can be one of those things that seems to feel like it's blocking us as well, is just this being afraid to step into our lights and the worthiness. And so as we start working through all of that stuff, we naturally just begin to be able to channel and understand and recognize that we've been channeling this whole time. That's the thing. That's the thing that I had to recognize. I expected it to look a certain way and to feel a certain way, and it looks and feels a lot different than I thought it would. And so for a long time, because I compared myself to other people, I didn't realize that I was channeling my higher self and I was channeling source and, you know, this information and knowledge all along without realizing it. I had to really let go of all my expectations of how that was going to look, all my expectations of myself, and all my expectations and comparisons of how other people channel, how other people connect. Like I quite honestly thought that channeling meant that I would just hear a voice talking in my head, like somebody else's voice just talking to me and telling me things. And maybe that happens for some people. That very rarely happens for me. Usually it's more of a knowing, just like those bolts of inspiration and understanding that come through, and just being able to identify that they didn't come from my conscious self. So there's so many different ways that it can happen. And it's just when we let the ego mind sleep, when we let the monkey mind sleep, and we just, and honestly, just continue getting connected in with that heart energy as well. And then, of course, right as I said that, I look down and we have Mother Mary, love and peace. And that's all I wanted to read from that card. It was just love and peace, you know, that unconditional loving energy, just really embracing and embodying that. And then the last card I'm going to pull before we go. So actually, fuck. See, like we could do this all day. This deck is just so amazing. Yeah. Mary Magdalene, Teacher Awakens. You have something important to share. So this just piggybacks off, I think it was the first card that we got, right? Like we are awakening to the fact that we do have important things to share. And we're all both students and teachers, right? We're always learning and we're always teaching what we've learned. And as we teach what we've learned, we learn more. And so it's just that beautiful process that continues and continues. Yeah, exactly. Just roll with it. Malicious mind state. Yeah, you know, that's what I had to do. It was really hard too, because it was like I would watch other people and I would just assume what was going on with them. because like I have no idea what's going on in their heads. I have no idea what they're seeing or hearing, but I think that I do. And then I expect that what I anticipate is happening for them is what should be happening for me. And I completely block myself off because of that. Like, we all experience our gifts. Our gifts are all unique to us, right? We experience them uniquely. We are unique beings. And it's just allowing ourselves to do that, to be unique, to have our own unique experience, and to allow that process to unfold as it's meant to. You know, I could never enjoy the journey because I was so focused on the destination, and I was so mad that I wasn't there yet. And I was so mad that I couldn't do the things that I thought I saw other people doing, right? And it was like my ego got really involved and was just like, well, I don't understand this. I know in past lifetimes I did all of this stuff. So like, why is it so hard for me now? And I would get really resentful and frustrated too. And it's like, I'm laughing at myself right now, just thinking of it. And yeah, I mean, it's a trip, man. This whole journey is a trip. We're going to pull some Moonology cards now. What is it? It's already been 40 minutes. These lives, I don't know, man. It's so, when you get going, it's really difficult to, like, I never want to stop. Like, I can't believe it's been that long already. That's crazy. Okay. This card coming out all the time. A fiery climax approaches. We can feel that, right? We can sense that. And that's in the air. It's all around. I mean, everything is coming to a head right now. 2020, it's just, honestly, the astrology that's happening in 2020, I haven't done the research myself, but they say that, I have heard people say that never in recorded history have we experienced the intensity of the astrological alignments that we're experiencing this year all together in one year. It is fucking mind-blowing. Just June alone, with the 3 eclipses in the lunar cycle, with the second Jupiter-Pluto conjunction, with, I mean, just all the planets that we have in retrograde right now, Mercury getting ready to go into retrograde too. It's absolutely wild. And it's just going to keep going. So it's like, there's so much energy and momentum building right now. But it's like this fiery climax initiates this new start, right? This is the new moon card, right? So we're in the climax right now. The climax is the full moon energy. And it's funny because we were feeling Aries energy earlier, right? With that one card there. So this is a full moon in Aries card. And so, yes, we have the climax, we have the full moon, and then we have the new moon, which initiates the new cycle, right? And so this is a cycle. These 3 eclipses in this lunar cycle are initiating a major change. This is initiating and grounding in, really anchoring in that new timeline that we are establishing, that is being, as we speak, recalibrated and reconfigured. And these 3 eclipses are anchoring that in, right? And then it's just about aligning to that. But, and so we have that going on. But I mean, there's just so many other things happening. We're going to get into the Pluto-Jupiter conjunction as well. There will be a video coming on that. There is already a video for those of you who are interested on the triple conjunction. I go through and talk about just the 3 conjunctions as a whole. I mean, there's so many things that each of these aspects and energies are doing that I mean, there could be videos for weeks on just the different things, but some of the things that I felt that were happening, I talk about the trifold process of integration and all of these different things. So definitely check that out. Definitely check out the Pluto Saturn video as well, where we talk about everything that's going on right now. We talk about Pluto and Capricorn, be the Pluto Saturn conjunction that happened in January. And we are feeling the effects of that still. Saturn is still circling around Jupiter and Pluto. Like, the 3 are not traveling very far from each other. And Jupiter and Pluto will come into 2 more exact alignments. They've already done it once this year, before the year is over, with Saturn just hanging out there, anchoring in that energy, really being that 3D solid force of that change, right? Oh, yeah. Next 18 months. Yep. Yeah. The next 18 months, honestly, up until, I don't know when it's not going to be intense, but the next 18 months for sure. And then into really 2023, when we have Pluto moving into Aquarius, and then we have Saturn moving into Pisces in 2023. Like, that's going to be a major shifting point as well, I think. These next 3 years are going to be a lot of this intense, fiery energy and a lot of these new starts. But this I'm feeling as really like the death of and the burning of the old system, the old earth, and the start of the new earth is what I'm really feeling from that right now. Yes. Oh, you're slacking. That's all right. We've been putting out a lot of videos, so we can't hold that against you. Definitely been putting out a lot of videos. You know, Kayla's back in action again. I've still got lots of free time on my hands, which I'm so blessed and so grateful for. And there's just so much stuff going on. Like, the videos, they have to come out. It's just keeping up with this month is going to be really intense. It's going to be a busy month for me, actually, even though I do have a lot of free time in the respect of I'm not working a typical job right now. There's still a lot happening in my life as well. There's a lot happening in the world, and there's a lot happening astrologically. So it's going to be really interesting making sure that, you know, all of this information gets out. But it's just, I mean, it's such a blessing. It's such a blessing that that's like my big responsibility right now, is getting this information out for you guys. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Any more cards from, okay. Okay. So you have a time to give rather than take, new moon in Virgo. And so what I'm feeling from this card right now is just with everything that's going on in the world, it's really looking at how we can, like, this is part of how we anchor into that love consciousness, right? Is how can we be of service? How can we be of service to the ones that we love? How can we be of service to the people that we may not even know, but who are our fellow brothers and sisters, right? It's like looking at things like we look at, say, for instance, the Black Lives Matter movement, right? Like, how can I be of service to this cause? How can I be of service to anyone who is finding a voice, who is speaking out against injustice, who is asking for change that is much required? How can I be of assistance? How can I hold space for that? How can I be assistance to something as simple as my neighbor? You know, like the older gentleman at the grocery store who might need some help. Like, anywhere that we can be, just really looking at how we can be of service to others and understanding that service to others is service to self. Just really getting and understanding that. And it's not like we talk about, it's really important to take care of ourselves first, right? We talk about that all the time. So that's not, it doesn't mean putting ourselves out, like hurting ourselves to go out of our way to help others. But it does mean like looking at the part that we're playing in the world and how we can make a positive impact on the world around us. And so that's what I'm definitely feeling, that energy, just that compassionate energy, that need for that. And then we have balanced spirituality and practicality. So this has been coming up. It's just as some of us are going back to work right now. Some of us are, becoming invested in the different movements that are going on right now, becoming in social justice and different things like this, really standing up and becoming part of that fight. And so it's just as we're dealing with these, we've kind of been in this bubble, some of us, for a little while, where we've been able to just really focus on our spiritual condition and not have to worry about a lot else. And now we're being asked to step into some other roles as well. And we have to learn how to do that, right? We have to learn how to not neglect our spiritual selves. I mean, everything is spiritual, right? We talk about that. But like, as far as the practices that we've put in place that help us to feel centered, the ways that we connect with ourselves, right? Like really balance, like making that a priority still. And I'm noticing the two fish, and it's making me think of duality. So I'm also feeling just balancing those dualities within ourselves. Like we're definitely in a process of doing that right now. We're actually moving away from the whole concept and the need for duality, interestingly enough, as we move into the fifth dimension, right? And so, but duality right now is a thing. So we're definitely, we're feeling a lot with that. There's a lot, the dualities, we're balancing and coming into harmony with those. We talk a lot about the masculine and the feminine essences and energies have been coming up a lot as well, and how we're coming into union with our masculine and feminine energies, and we're balancing that, you know, like we can see in the world right now, balancing the dark with the light. And so this came up too. Spiritual bypassing is coming to my head too right now. That just popped into my head. So this whole idea of spiritual bypassing, and how some of us, whether we were aware or not, may still have been trying to do that in some areas. And now all of that, like if we were trying to live too deeply, too far in the light, our darkness is coming up and kind of swallowing us up. And if we were immersed too much in our darkness, we've been pulled more toward the light again. It's like that. It's constant. We're constantly being balanced. We're constantly coming back into that flow and that harmony. And so, yeah, until we get to a place where all is unified, that's what's going to happen, is we're going to be pulled back and forth between those two poles, between those two dualities. So, yeah, just really working on balancing that, just really working on coming into harmony and accepting all of those sides and all of those angles. And I'm feeling for some people, this is also like accepting and seeing and understanding and balancing all of the angles of situations. If there's different situations that some of you guys are in where it's going to require you to compromise. It's going to require you to be compassionate, to really see the other side of situations, and to really seek that balance and that harmony, and that ability to see all sides and understand all sides. And then I don't think there's a single reading with this deck where this doesn't come up. It's time to release negativity, full moon in Scorpio. So, yes. And then you are good enough, full moon in Virgo. Okay, and I was going to skip over these, but for some reason I'm being called just to mention these as well real quick. So we have your commitment is being tested. So for some, this is your commitment to your spiritual path. This may be your commitment to a certain ideology, a certain belief, whatever it is, a certain thing that you are wanting to manifest. And so your commitment to that goal is being tested right now. And if you are willing to weather the storm, a win-win outcome is forecast. A win-win outcome is forecast, but it is going to need some planning and some strategy. We have to we're being asked we're merging all the dimensions right now, right? So we're actually not just moving into the fifth dimension. We're merging the third, fourth, and fifth and we're going to be experiencing all of them simultaneously. And so we have to still be practical. We have to still be logical. We have to still have some sort of centeredness. And this comes to absolutely everything. We have to have some sort of centeredness in this physical world that we live in. And like that requires planning sometimes. That requires for us to be a little bit more specific and a little bit more grounded. And so that energy is definitely coming up as well. And then confidence is your key to success. And this always comes up too. You and your loved ones are safe. So I wanted to throw those out there. All right. So we're going to do a Work Your Light card, or Secret Language of Light. I have a deck called Work Your Light too. I always screw them up. And then we're probably going to pull a couple Black Moon Astrology cards because I love that deck. So, all right. What messages do you have for us? What energies? Guidance for experiencing these eclipse energies. Well, that's a lot of fucking guidance. We're gonna put these. That's a lot of cards, man. I don't know. Fuck it. We'll see what they say, right? So we got. It's interesting because these two look very similar. What's on the bottom of the deck and this, the joy, and the soulcraft. Those are like different variations of the same card there. The moon is very powerful. Yes. Yes. Oh, yeah. So this is just like, whew. This is like all that light pouring in right now, right? All of those downloads, all of those activations, all of that light just like streaming in through our chakras, right? Through our energy centers. So joy. This is reminding us to try to stay in that space of joy, to connect with that inner joy. Just joy is, we talk about the heart is the gateway, right? And so how do we get into that heart energy? How do we unlock that? How do we open that up? Through experiencing joy, through the things that bring us joy. If we're trying to drop into our heart center really quickly, the best way to do that is just recall an image or a memory that brings us joy. So my spiritual teacher actually at one point had me come up with things, sort of like a list of these things that made me smile or made me feel that joyful energy when I thought of them, as sort of like a hack to get me more rooted in my heart center. It was really difficult. I mean, he spent a really long time with me, years really, trying to help me get from my head to my heart. And it's still a journey that I go back and forth sometimes, because I'm a very mind-oriented person. And so this was really tricky for me, but it's just like being in that space of joy. Joy is the key to everything. And then we have wellness. So this is taking care of your physical vessel. This is very important. Taking care of the physical body, integrating movement. This always makes me think of movement as well. It's like the way that we integrate energies through the movement of the physical body, like through yoga, through dance, through just moving the way that our bodies want to move. Like that is so important as we're going through this process. So that is just really being highlighted as well. And just the remembering that wellness exists. We cannot have wellness on only one level. It has to be on all levels of being. So that's the physical, the emotional, the spiritual. So taking care of all those aspects of ourselves. And remembering, we talked about this, right? Like we're bringing our physical bodies with us. We're not going to be shedding them or getting rid of them. They are coming with us. So it is so important to take care of them and to acknowledge them and to honor them. So I'm feeling that energy as well of just like really honoring our physical bodies, honoring our emotional selves, honoring all aspects of ourselves as we, that's wellness is the integration of all the healing of all of that, right? And so as I do want to throw out there, if you are looking for assistance with this, one way that we can really help to anchor into this wellness and to harmonize the emotional, the spiritual, and the physical is through energy healing. I do energy healing. So does Kayla. I do Reiki. I also do a type of healing called Belvaspata, which is angelic healing of the heart. So we're talking about anchoring into that heart energy, right? And opening up that heart energy, that joy, that flow. Belvaspata can help with that. It was specifically designed or downloaded, whatever you want to call it, as a response to the ascension energies to help guide us through this ascension process. So I would absolutely love to assist any of you who are looking to utilize that or to utilize the Reiki. I can do both remotely. Kayla does a type of healing called divine healing. She can do that. We both do readings as well. Reach out to either one of us if you resonate with us and you're looking for a little guidance or a little assistance. But I wanted to bring that up with the wellness card. And then we have enlightenment, right? That's what's happening right now. We are in this process of enlightenment. We are, Kayla and I like to call it the great remembering, right? But it is as a globe, as a world, we are waking up. We are waking up to this knowledge that we are we are these cosmic beings of light, right? Like we are all gods. We are all expressions of God, and we have all the capabilities of God, of source. And we're starting to remember this, and it's like I'm seeing, oh, there's a globe in the middle of it. There's the earth, right? We're being enlightened, and we're understanding our connection, not just to each other, but this is bringing me back to the connection with the earth again as well, right? And just this is, as we tap into this joy and we take care of all aspects of the self, like we were talking about, this is what continues to bring in this and anchor in this energy of enlightenment and remembrance. So that's what we just said, right? The great remembrance, right? So we are remembering. We're remembering not just, we're remembering everything. We're remembering our true identity. We're remembering our soul path. We're remembering our past lives. We're remembering our past life gifts, right? We're recalling all of that energy. We're just sinking into this space of truly remembering who we are, and like remembering from the heart center, not remembering intellectually, right? But remembering in here. And that is a knowing, that is a feeling. And we're really sinking into that enlightened feeling of remembering our power, remembering our purpose, remembering our path, remembering who and what we really are. Like we come here and we forget that, but we as a collective are remembering that right now. And it's so fucking beautiful. It's so fucking beautiful. We have soul journey. So that's what we're on, right? Everything, it's all a soul journey. Like and our souls have so many different journeys, right? Like some of us came here specifically to assist the souls in their journey to this new dimension, this new era of consciousness, right? Others are perhaps on this journey, and this is their first time going through this process. This is their first time ascending past the third dimensional consciousness and density, right? And so they're on that journey. Everything is a journey. We're remembering that we are on a journey. We're remembering that this is not all there is, right? Like this is the dream, right? This is the illusion. Like our soul travels and has traveled and will travel. Really, if you want to get technical about it, is simultaneously traveling, since everything's all happening in an infinite now. But we won't get into that right now. But it's like our soul is always on this beautiful journey, this beautiful mystical journey. And actually, I want to look in the book too and see what it says about this card. I'm feeling drawn to do that as well. We're in the next phase of our soul's journey right now, the next phase of our soul's evolution. This says, a new chapter is beginning for you right now. This time, go easy on yourself. Be the courageous, loving being you are. Breathe into the present moment and allow any anxieties to drop away. Enjoy the journey and stop thinking the future will bring something better. When the future arrives, it will be now. Step out of the shadow of your past. All that matters is what you decide to do from this moment, right? We're shifting into that. We're making that massive quantum timeline leap right now, right? Like that really truly is all that matters. What you decide to do in this moment, what you decide you want to manifest in this moment, what you decide you want your reality to be in this moment. This moment is all there is. This moment is so important. Your life is yours to live in whatever way is meaningful to you. You brought yourself to this life, and you are responsible for the quality of it. Trying to understand your reason for coming here will just hold you back. Just remember, everything you have done was the best thing to do at that time, or you thought it was. As you move forward, you will understand your motives. Experience allows you to better handle crisis. You are now deliberately creating a new chapter in your life. You are such an amazing pioneer. You are. I love that. Yeah. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. So it's all perfect, right? Like there are no there are no mistakes because we learn from everything and we grow from everything. And it's all so beautifully orchestrated. Like we literally cannot fuck it up. So it's just about really embracing and enjoying this journey and knowing that at any moment, if we do not like the reality, if the reality that we're experiencing is not what we're desiring, we can absolutely change that. And yes, Tommy. And I like, I like that too, is just the, not getting so caught up trying to figure out why we're here and all of this stuff. Like I can really go down some rabbit holes with that sometimes. Like I get some pretty interesting insights of my own and downloads of my own. I read some really pretty interesting stuff. I mean, there's just so much information out there and it can be really overwhelming. You know, for me, I don't put too much stock. Like I put a lot of time into trying to figure out the intricacies of the galaxy and all this different stuff, right? But I really do try to limit that because it's really not as important. Like I know everything that I need to know and everything that I'm meant to know right now, right? And when it comes to, you know, a lot of people, they want to figure out what kind of star seed am I? You know, people who identify with that label, right? Like, am I a Sirian? Am I a Palladian? You know, am I Andromedan? All of this different stuff. And like, honestly, you probably are all those things or many of those things or none of those things. Does it really matter? You know, like what difference does it make to know that right now? Like we can get really caught up in that. And I think that's just another way that we take ourselves out of our experience in the here and the now. So it's not worrying so much about that, about the labels, about all of the semantics of everything, right? And it's just really sinking into the experience. And that's bringing me back to the thought of the whole experience, the experience of being human, the understanding that our soul's journey took us here right now. So like be here right now. And then we got sensitivity and we got the rose again. So that rose has come up a couple times now. And so this is, you know, our sensitivity is increasing. This card came up in one of the recent readings too. So it's we are growing more sensitive. We're energetically growing more sensitive. And as we're energetically growing more sensitive, we're also physically growing more sensitive. We are our sixth senses, right? Because we have more than just one sixth sense. It's a whole array of senses that we develop outside of the 5 physical ones, right? So those are developing. We're becoming more sensitive to that. We're noticing, you know, that we're hearing, people are noticing like the ringing in the ears and how that is getting more intense, right? We're beginning to realize that we're actually hearing spirit speaking to us. We're hearing other beings speaking to us. We're receiving these downloads when our ears are ringing. That's another thing. Like we're starting to notice all of these little things. We're just becoming more sensitive to the world around us and to the non-physical. And so that's when it comes back to this wellness piece and this taking care of ourselves piece again as well. Oh, this is interesting. So we have soul name. And that just looks like the doorway, if there were one, into the 5th dimension, right? It's like it's a heart. If you look really closely, this light is shaped like a heart, right? So it's like the heart center, the gateway, the heart center being the gateway. But I'm really intrigued about what this, I haven't seen this card yet. So I want to read this one from the book too and just see what this says. I'm not big on names, so I'm curious about this. I'm not big on names. I feel like and we don't try to get too into this, right? But I feel like wherever I come from, like we don't really utilize names anymore. We go by energy and frequency. And we automatically know each other without having to label ourselves by name. But it says soul name, so I'm definitely curious to see. You are or are about to receive the name of your soul. Your soul name acts as a link between your inner and outer worlds, enabling you to merge authentic wisdom into your everyday experiences and create a life from your heart. You placed your soul name in your heart before you were born. As you explore your inner world and open your heart, you will discover the name of your beautiful essence. You are safe to discover, connect, and receive. All your dreams and desires will be realized with an open heart. Ask for and be open to receiving the name of your soul. It may arrive in a way you don't expect, but when it comes to you, you will know it is authentic by the way it feels. Liberate your heart and soul. You are worth it. And so this is interesting because it actually reminds me of, there's a card in the Isis deck that talks about this too. But it talks about how we go by many names, right? Just as Isis goes by many names. She's actually, one of her names, or one of the things they call or refer to her as, is the goddess of 10,000 names. And so it's sort of like we shift in and out of identities, and we shift in and out of names, right? But in that thing, it also talks about how when you're asking for your soul name, when you're wanting to connect with that, it may not even be a word. It may be a sound. It may be a feeling. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be a name, but perhaps for some of you that is going to be really helpful in your spiritual evolution at this time, is to be reacquainted with a new or lost or forgotten, right? Because now I'm looking at the remembrance card, identity of your own that you're recalling and reclaiming and remembering and reintegrating. And so, yeah, that could be very important and very helpful for somebody who is watching this right now. And then variance. Everything is changeable. Everything fluctuates. We are very changeable. We are fluctuating right now. We are becoming ever more changeable as this process goes on. So we're going to read this one too. Today you may not feel like yourself. You and your soul are looking at the same thing but are seeing it differently. Your emotions and reactions are a combination of your thoughts and your soul's thoughts. And when they don't align, you feel wobbly. Variance is a way of explaining the wobble. When you have the same perspective as your soul, things feel right. They may seem satisfactory and easy. No limiting beliefs or patterns are triggered, but there is a feeling that all is well. Your soul will never join you in judgment, blame, or hurt because it is not the truth of you. It is not the perspective of love. How you feel reveals how aligned you are with your soul. If you are experiencing something that doesn't feel quite right, take a breath and come back to your center. You'll begin to feel better, inspired to navigate your inner radar and to receive your soul's transmissions. So this is all about just noticing, like we talk about, the barometer, noticing the emotions as the barometer that tells you when something's off. Really learning how to center into your own energy and your own intuition so that you can feel that and understand that when it's happening, and just coming into alignment with ourselves. And how this process of coming into our alignment with ourselves, as we're going through that, we're going to kind of flow from one extreme to the other, right? We're going to flow back and forth. We're going to feel in alignment, and then we're going to flow out of alignment so that we have the contrast of knowing what it feels like to be out of alignment. And then we're going to flow back into it again. And pretty soon, like, instead of the wobble being like this, it'll be like this. And then it'll just be every once in a while. And then we'll be in complete alignment. And that won't, not to say that'll never happen, because I don't think that's very realistic, even in, like, this new 5D Earth, or, that we talk about. Like, there's always going to be a little bit of a wobble, I think, right? As in these still, fifth density would still be a slightly lower density compared to, where we can move upwards to. So there's always going to be a slight variance, but it'll be less and less. But it's like that contrast is our marker that's showing us. It's showing us what we want. It's showing us what we don't want. It's showing us who we are and who we are not. It is really there to teach us and to help us learn and to help us grow and to help us learn how to step back into our center when we teeter off of it and away from it. And then this card, because it came out and it looked just like that one, and I'm just really drawn to the name, we're going to read that one too and see what Soulcraft has to say. God, these cards are just, oh my God. I don't know, you guys can't completely see the spread here and the way that it looks, but it's just like, So breathtaking. So breathtaking. It says life happens from you, not to you. So this is crafting your reality, right? The thoughts, ideas, and topics you incessantly discuss are crafting your life. So focus on ones that make your heart smile. This is what we were talking about, right? That bring you that joy. You are ready to receive answers from your soul about any topics, ideas, or thoughts you want to change. Variance, right? Be wise in your crafting, and the path of least resistance will call you. Different soul vibrations will inspire different actions. If you are feeling tired, your inspired action will be to rest or sleep. Wellness. If you are feeling love, you will be inspired to do things that emulate love in your day. We all sense with our soul, but often override it with the rational mind. Trust your soul is bringing you the most up-to-date information. So this is just listening to your soul, it's listening to your body, it's listening to your spirit, and just anchoring in that. Like, that's the consciousness that one of the benefits and the blessings that we got from the coronavirus actually was being able to anchor in more of this consciousness for a lot of us, of being able to live by our souls, to listen to what it is that our souls and our bodies were asking us to do, to structure our day and our reality around what we were being called to do. And that helped us to anchor in this fifth dimensional consciousness, because in this new earth consciousness, that's exactly how we're going to live. We are going to live guided by our souls, doing the things that we feel drawn to do, listening to that internal guidance and letting that tell us, not having some outer person tell us what time we need to go to bed because this is what time we have to be awake and this is what time we have to be here to do this thing that really doesn't matter, that's just facilitating these other things that don't really matter. Like, none of that, that's not the vibration that we're anchoring in. And so some of us got a chance to taste what that experience would be like and anchor that in for the collective. And it's just absolutely it's going to be amazing. I'm so excited. So yeah, I like that card a lot. Soulcraft. That's what we're doing, guys. And so, speaking of anchoring in, I am going to get ready to end this live. I was going to pull another deck, but honestly, I'm like super hot and really just ready to wind down a little bit. So I'm probably not going to do that, but I will say, as far as the anchoring in goes, if you guys are interested in donating to our channel, we do have a link for that below. That also helps to anchor in this new earth consciousness where we're all just creating and doing the things that we love. We're doing that soul work, right? Like what we were just talking about, that soul craft. And so we absolutely appreciate that. Our info, if you're interested in readings or energy healings, is down below as well. So definitely reach out with either one of us if you resonate with one of us. Reach out to us. And yeah, we absolutely love every single one of you. I'm so grateful for you. I'm so glad that you all stopped in. It was wonderful to chat with you all and to see or feel, I guess I can't really see all of your faces, but to feel all of your beautiful energy. And just from the absolute bottom of my heart, thank you so much. You all have a beautiful night. Have a beautiful eclipse. Just really focus on what it is. You know, that was perfect that was our last card, right? Because just really, I want to reiterate that focusing on what it is that you're wanting to manifest, what it is that you're wanting to create, utilizing the energy of this timeline jump and recalibration to really propel ourselves in the direction that we want to go, both individually and collectively. Just looking at that highest and best possible outcome for every situation and really focusing and honing our energy in on that. And so that's what I want to leave you guys with tonight. And until we meet again, love you all very much. And let me see if I can figure out, I always forget how to turn this thing off. All right, there we go. Bye, guys. And